I remember my father once a month telling my mother, let's go look and count bonds to see, education and everything. But my brother said when he went in there, he's coming the second, and he said, I'm going to bring some things that we have never seen. Pictures.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Fun? That's good. Looks like a good meal.
Yeah. Yeah, should be good.
Let's get this personal space off the ground, right?
Right. Finally. Some things, yeah, whatever you are.
We'll have some for you.
Let's go ahead and see if we can get started. Everybody's having a good time. Yeah, I'd like to welcome you to the AIAA's Commercial Crew and Cargo Transportation Systems panel. I'm Klaus Dannenberg, the Deputy Executive Director for AIAA. And Bob Dickman would have liked to have been here, as some of you may know if you're tracking some of his comments in the last month or so, to defend himself partially. But he's on an Air Force Scientific Advisory Board meeting on the West Coast this week and next week. So this is a timely discussion. Timely, I guess, when we got the Obama stimulus package. There's a nice plus-up money for NASA in there. And we thought that was going to be plus-up money for COTS. But so far, what it has stimulated is discussion and controversy, rather than stimulating the funding. But we'll get there. The discussion is necessary. What I think is interesting is just from tracking some of the blogs and the different sites and discussion in general is how much misperception and misunderstanding that there is out there, how people really aren't on the same page or anywhere close to the same page, can't even find the same page in some cases, and discussions about errors about the role of COTS versus the role of Orion and heavy lift, and the role of the cost overruns or lack thereof, cost control, the roles of the commercial sector in general, the readiness of the commercial sector. So a lot of issues that, again, a lot of misperceptions out there. And one of the things we wanted to do was to try to have this discussion so that the Augustine panel can hear some of the discussion and get some of these ideas straightened out, or get a different perception, get different, a variety of perspectives on where we really are. And I guess they're getting some of that. Now, they can't be here today because they're here in town, but they're out at one of the COTS contractors, getting spun up there and getting some first-hand information. Interesting that the comments that came out of the discussions yesterday was that several of the members there said that they were surprised how far along some of the commercial systems were. It was much further along than they had expected. So again, that's a good thing. We're getting some of that message out there. And we'll be sure, part of the reason we're videotaping this is to be sure that they'll be able to get a copy of this and see what the discussion is. And if they have any additional questions, we'll follow up with them. We'll follow up to make sure they get the information. So today, that's really the purpose, is to have the discussion, clarify, and shed some light on some of the different issues. Have two panels, have a government panel and an industry panel. We're going to have the industry panel go first. And chairing the industry panel is going to be Patti Grace-Smith. I'll introduce Patti Grace in just a minute. And chairing that's kind of a change, but and chairing the government panel will be Mike Bevan. And I just noticed I left my bio of Patti behind on the table somewhere, so I'll have to do that from off the cuff. Before I go too much further, I wanted to thank our commercial sponsors, corporate sponsors for the event. Bigelow and SpaceX have been sponsors, and it's great. Without their sponsorship and without their support, we can't have activities like this. And then the videotaping has been sponsored by ULA. So we're glad to have them participate in that way. The important thing about Patti Grace and introducing her for the first panel is that she's a fellow War Eagle. We were both Auburn graduates, and one of these things we discovered when we were out at the International Symposium on Personal Spaceflight a couple of years ago. Didn't know that until then. But Patti is a former deputy from the FAA, or Associate Administrator from the FAA for commercial space. Kind of made that position a real position. Got a lot of firsts, a lot of accomplishments in that position. And then she retired about a year ago, and she's now had her own consulting company and is consulting with a number of the big names in this industry. So with that, let me turn it over to Patti and get started on the panel.
Thank you, Klaus. And yes, I'm proud to be a War Eagle, hailing from Alabama. It is indeed a pleasure to be here to moderate this panel on a topic that is near and dear to my heart: innovations in orbit and exploration of commercial crew and cargo transportation. It goes back to the origins of commercial space at the Department of Transportation, when then Secretary Dole was in battle with Malcolm Baldrige, the Secretary of Commerce, who wanted very much to locate space in the Department of Commerce. And Secretary Dole said no, because one day space is going to be a form of transportation. That's where the future lies, and it rightfully belongs in the Department of Transportation. And she prevailed in that position with President Reagan at that time, and in 1984 the office was created, reporting at that time to the Secretary of Transportation. Indeed, we as a country, as a nation, are at a critical crossroads. A thorough review of the literature of the past shows that in almost every field of endeavor, discovery and innovation, we have had a healthy appetite for the entrepreneurial spirit, and an even healthier, far more supportive passion to ensure that it remains and flourishes. What happened over the years, one might ask, that diminished this passion so much? We might all come up with different answers, and no doubt some of the same answers. Whatever the answer, however, one thing is for certain: America is losing the space race. Our superpower status as a nation is being challenged from multiple parts of the globe. Some may be further along than we even know when it comes to space. 2/3 of our college classrooms in the science and engineering field, as relates to aerospace, are occupied by foreign students who graduate and take our technology home. 2/3 of the classrooms. When I first heard that, it was just absolutely staggering. I learned a couple of years ago that at our very own Air Force Academy, that they are having great difficulty in attracting students to go into aerospace engineering, because they yearn for something more exciting to learn about, to even work on, like Spaceship Two or White Knight 2, and many